Hello and welcome to this week's lecture. This week we're going to be looking at modifying objects. So as you can see on screen, I have AutoCAD open, just a brand new drawing. So again, you can just click on the home. If you don't remember how to do this, just look at last week's video, but quick run through is when you open AutoCAD, you click on the new and then make sure you open up an AutoCAD ISO template. So we're presented here with a blank screen. So we're going to look at a few different commands today. So looking at the modifying tab. So last week we looked at drawing lines and circles and rectangles, for example, and we used the move and copy command or for modifying. So today we're going to look at a few more of these modifying commands here, which you can see on the ribbon. Okay, so the first thing we are going to look at is going to be scale. To scale something is to make it bigger, so you can make it 10 times bigger or 10 times smaller, for example. So again, I'm just going to draw a little rectangle for an example here. So bring up the rectangle command. Again, as I said in all my other videos, make sure you always read the command line because it will tell you exactly what you're supposed to do. So specify the first corner point. That's basically the first corner point of the rectangle. Again, for these examples, I'm not going to worry about the size, like exact dimensions. This is just to show you how the command works. So just click anywhere on the screen and draw a rectangle roughly around this side. Click it and that'll finish the command. So now we want to bring up the scale command. So we just go up here. You can press click on the icon. Again, if you hover over it, it'll give you a quick recap of how it's done. You can also check the notes for this example. So click on scale. Now our command line is asking us to select the objects. So obviously we want to scale this rectangle. Remember, because we drew it as a rectangle, it's all one solid object. If you had drawn this with individual lines, it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4 individual lines. But we used a rectangle, so it's all one polyline. So click on the object. Okay, it says down here in the bottom, it says one object found. So we don't want to scale anything more, so we finished selecting our objects, so we'll just hit enter. The enter here at this point will just confirm that we've selected everything we want to select. And then specify your base point. So again, same with a lot of the other commands, this is the base point at which the point at which the command is going to activate from. So I'm going to click this bottom corner here. So when I click this here, when it scales upwards, this corner point here is going to stay in the same position, but everything else is going to get bigger up in this direction, So I'll just click on the bottom left corner. Now you can do this freehand. You can see when I move the mouse around, the rectangle is kind of getting bigger and smaller depending which way you're doing it. So this isn't a very accurate way to do it. So usually when you're doing something like this, you can set it to a very certain scale. So again, down the bottom it says specify scale factor. So say we wanted to actually double the size of it. So scale factor of 2 would actually just increase the size of the object by 2. So I'll just hit enter, press 2 and hit enter, sorry. And you can see our rectangle actually has been doubled in size. Again, you can do this the other way around. Click on the scale icon, select your object, hit enter, specify your base point, and say if you actually want to make it a quarter the size. So if you want to do it make it smaller, we work in decimal places. So half the size would be you type in a scale factor of 0.5. Again, just click down in here, 0.5 will reduce it by 50%. So again, it gets smaller. Straightforward enough. You can do this with any object. Just make sure that if you're using something that has multiple points or multiple lines or multiple elements, make sure you select them all. Otherwise, one part might be missing, which won't look good. Straightforward enough. Again, if you're not too sure, just check out the notes. The next one we're going to look at is going to be the rotate command. Again, we can still use the rectangle here because it's easily drawn. So up in the modify tab along the top, we have rotate here. So you can click on the icon. There's a keyboard shortcut as well if you want, so it's type in RO and it'll bring up the rotate command. Again, straightforward enough, same with all the other commands. We want to select the object first of all. So select the object, hit enter to confirm that we've selected everything. And again, specifying the base point. So the base point in this instance is actually going to mean the point at which the object is going to rotate. So if I select this bottom right corner for a change, and now I'm doing this freehand. Once I've selected a base point, now you can see it's actually going to be spinning around that base point. Again, I could do this freehand like this, which isn't very accurate. Usually when doing CAD drawings, it's all about accuracy, and that's the most important thing. So doing it by eye isn't really recommended. So down the bottom here, we can see on the command line, it says specify your rotation angle. You can ignore these just for the moment. So we'll just specify the angle. So we know our angles go from 0 to 360 degrees. So for this example, if you want to rotate it 90 degrees, we just press 90. And you'll see now the rectangle rotated at this point 90 degrees. Say if you wanted to rotate it in the opposite direction, I'll just bring it back up here. I just pressed Control Z to undo, so restart that again. So bring up the rotate command. So that was rotating at plus 90. So plus 90 was going up like this. This is going rotating in the plus. This is rotating in the minus. So which one was it? Sorry, I can't remember which one it was. Doesn't make a difference. You can a bit of trial and error to figure it out. So you can rotate in minus 90, minus 90, minus 45 for example, or plus 45, depending which way you want to do it. You'll have to kind of see. It just really depends on what you're actually going to be drawing, which angle you're going to use. So here it's going to be, I'll just, for example, minus 45. And you can see now it's going to rotate it from being this way to minus 45, going up this way. Straightforward enough. Just to make it a bit neater, we'll just try one more time. Click on our object, hit enter, specify our base point, and now we want to rotate it back so it's actually perfectly flat along here. So again, you could do it automatically, which again, once you have some of the AutoCAD prompts on, it'll actually lock it into position, so because it knows this is kind of a sensible position for the object to be in. But for this one, we rotated at minus 45 last time, so technically we rotated 45 this time. It should go back to its original position, like this. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is the offset command. So again, in the modifying tab here, this little icon, and it looks like I don't know what it looks like, but that's the offset icon, let's say. So again, hover over the icon, it'll give you a quick scale or a quick explanation of what it does. So we're going to click on the icon this time, and again, looking at the command line, it says specify your offset distance. So okay, what offset actually means, first of all, so we have our lines around here. So if we want to offset these lines, I'll just zoom in so you can see a bit better. If we want to offset this line, we can offset it by a certain distance this way or certain distance this way. If you're ever drawing windows in AutoCAD, which you will be doing maybe this semester or next semester, using the offset command is an easy way, because in a window frame we have an outer frame. It's usually got a wooden outer frame, so this would be the outer boundary of the frame, and then you want to do it, show where the inner boundary of the frame is. Using the offset command is a much quicker way to do it. Of course, you could, if you knew the frame was a certain distance in, you could draw a line in like this, but it's a bit tricky. So using the offset command in this example is much better. So we're going to specify the offset distance now. When we drew this rectangle, first of all, we just did a freehand, so it depends on what size you drew it at, and how much we need to offset. So you can actually have a look. So if you hover over the endpoint, don't click anything just yet, hover your mouse over the endpoint, and you can kind of bring it in a little bit, and you can kind of, if you look down here at the coordinates, you can roughly see what size your line is. So you can see my extension there. That's on the screen here saying an extension of, I'll keep it over there, extension by 50 units. So say if I want to offset that in maybe 10 units in. So press 10. Now it's asking me to specify the object to offset. So we want to offset this line here. Okay, and now it's asking for us to offset, on the offset, to specify the point on the side to offset. So basically if we want to offset on the inside, we hover the mouse on the inside. So we can see the rectangle itself has been offset inside. If I bring it outside, it'll actually be offset outside. And the distance from the original rectangle is going to be 10 units long, because that's what we set it at. So again, if you click, and once we do the inside one, so bring the mouse into this direction and click the left click the mouse, and there we go. Now you'll see the command is actually still active, so you can just press escape to finish it up. So again, you can see this is actually a nice quick way to draw windows and doors, because you can get the outside line of the door and then the inside line of the door. So something very useful to use. The next command we're going to look at is the mirror command. So it's up here on the ribbon up here. So in the modify section, we're just going to click on mirror, and again it'll bring up a little description of what it is, or you can type in MI on the keyboard. That's the keyboard shortcut for mirror. So click on it. So again, the first thing it's asking us to do, like all the other commands, is to select the object. So I'm going to click, we'll click on both these rectangles first of all. So two objects found. I'm going to hit enter now just to confirm that we've selected everything. So now it's asking to specify the point of the mirror lines. So what this means is it wants us to see where the object can be mirrored from. So if we want to mirror this rectangle and we click on this point, you'll see now it's actually going to be mirrored exactly over the other side, and it's going to be controlled from this bottom right hand corner. So you can see, this is just going freehand, if I move the mouse around it'll be mirrored. I can try and mirror it this way. If you have your object snap on, you can use it to kind of get your mirror position exactly right the way you want it. You can go down, you can go up in freehand, If you want to actually go exactly sideways, it's always good to kind of snap onto the object, which is useful. So I can just click on the top of the rectangle, right click or left click the mouse. You see down the bottom here it says, do you want to erase the source object? Sometimes if you're copying something over, you might want to delete the first one. Say for example, if you're doing a load of windows in a building, you might not want to actually mirror, you might not want to erase the original. So in this case, I'm going to click on no. So just either type in N on the keyboard and hit enter. And now we see we've actually got the two windows. So again, this is a nice quick way to actually, if you have drew one window, you very easily could do another one. And say if you're going to do a whole line of these, then you can actually mirror these two next time, and you'll have 4 windows, and you can mirror them again. You can get, and you can keep going up and up. You get lots of windows. Just to show you the mirror command in a different way, let's bring up the mirror command. I'm going to select the objects. So I'm going to use the selection tool, which we used a few weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, sorry, a few videos ago. So if you just left click on this and blank space up here, don't hold the mouse down, and you can actually bring down this green selecting box. So the green selecting box, if you don't remember, it means everything that the green box touches will actually be selected. So bring the green box again, don't press anything, click it down here. Once if everything is selected inside the green box, just click enter, and then we'll see that all our objects are selected. And then we're going to hit enter just to confirm that. Specify the first point of the mirror line. So the last example, we actually mirrored it exactly right up against the window. But what if you don't want to actually have the mirrored object exactly up against it? Say if you want to have it on a distance out here. So again, for the moment, when you're doing this in real life, you will have a very specific distance. But for this example, we'll just kind of pick an arbitrary distance. So, I'm just going to hover down at the bottom right corner and just kind of go out roughly in a straight line to whatever distance you want. So now when I select here, we can see the point that I selected, this base point is now off here. So this is where the mirror line is going to be. So again, if you know there's actually going to be a certain gap between the windows, you can actually set the distance, the mirror line, to be half the distance, and you'll be able to work out exactly where it is. So again, similar position or similar idea as last time. You can move the mirrored object around and around like this. But say if you want to get it perfectly straight, last time we were able to keep it perfectly straight, all we have to do is click on the object here. When we were here, just click on the middle line and was able to lock on perfectly straight. But here, it's kind of tricky to line it up exactly straight. So this is where our ortho command comes into place again. So we did this in some other examples. So if you press F8 on the keyboard, you'll see in the command line ortho on. That basically means we can only draw things in perfectly horizontal or vertical. So it's just a nice easy way if you want to keep things nice and accurate. So with ortho on, I can either kind of put it directly down here or directly over here, so it doesn't actually rotate. So it's very little chance to me, or zero chance of me actually making a mistake in terms of where I want to put it. So I'll just click up here, and we want to erase the source object. Just to be something different from the last one, we'll say yes this time. So we can click on yes down here, or type in Y in the keyboard, and then you can see the original one is gone. So again, it's a nice straightforward command, easy to do.